Thank you, friend Shabbat Shalom. We are in the midst of the Festival of Freedom. I hope you're all enjoying and relishing the opportunity. Much has happened of late. The terrible incident in Kansas City the day before Pesach cast a pall on every Seder in America, and possibly the world. And friends, what's even more alarming is what has recently taken place in the Ukraine, with the false flyer calling for Jews to register or face deportation. This should send a shudder down the spine of all humanity and call for a cry of never again. Friends, it is believed this was done to simply cause unrest in the Jewish community. Is there not enough unrest in the world already? The Eastern world, it is exploding, violence flaring, bullets loading. But you tell me, over and over again, my friend, that you don't believe we're on the eve of destruction. That great P.F. Sloan song. This week, we're in the Chol HaMoed, the intermediate days of Passover. During the intermediate days of both Passover and Sukkot, we read the same Torah section, Exodus 33:12 to 34:26. And it's an interesting section, friends, because it's not its own parsha. It's part of Ki Tisa, when you add, which contain the Sabbath law, the Ten Commandments, and the golden calf incident, none of which are actually part of this reading. This reading does focus on the relationship between God and Moses and the glory of God as he travels in the cloud. And we are introduced to that amazing formula made so famous by Maimonides. Yahweh, Yahweh, merciful and gracious God, is slow to anger and abounding in kindness and faithfulness. This marks the most repeated formula in the Tanakh, my friends, telling us not what God's essence is, but what the marks of the divine personality are: mercy and grace. In 8 or 9 ways we are told of God's compassion. Friends, this is the most forgotten part of the Old Testament God of wrath. We focus on the anger and not the divine mercy. We are told in this reading in Exodus 34:18 that we shall observe the festival of unleavened bread, now simply referred to as Passover, and therefore not the same. And then in 34:22, you shall make a festival of weeks, of the first fruits of the wheat harvest, and the festival of gathering at the end of the year. And of course, the festival of weeks is Shavuot, because Shavuot means weeks in Hebrew. And the festival of gathering is Sukkot. 3 times in the year every one of your males shall appear before the Lord. The 3 gathering festivals, the only 3 called for, are all mentioned in this one section. And so they become the intermediate day readings. And friends, we are also about to enter the second part of the twin festivals of freedom, Easter with Good Friday. An interesting pair of holidays of freedom. One frees you from sin. The other frees you from fear and constraint or constriction. And that's what Egypt meant. It wasn't known as Egypt, or as the Greco-Roman world referred to it, Aegyptus. To the people of the Torah, its name was Mitzrayim, the root of which would be Mem, Tzadi, Resh, Meitzir, meaning to limit, to bind, to restrict. Easter provides Christians with the opportunity to accept that Jesus took the world's sins on himself, and so people can be spiritually free. Passover provides people with the opportunity to free themselves of the fears in their lives. And I always wondered, what was so good about Good Friday? I didn't understand the name, and it didn't seem to be so good to me. At 3 p.m. on Good Friday, the crucifixion of Jesus is marked. And friends, it's not good as in happy. A 4th century church manual, the Apostolic Constitutions, called Good Friday, even though not called Good Friday, a day of mourning, not a day of festive joy. The original church holy day was Friday, not Sunday, and every Friday was a feast day to coincide with the Sabbath meal. And then sometime around the 6th or 7th century, from one of 2 sources, the Gallican church in Gaul referred to this day as Gute Freitag, good or holy, God's Friday. But because God was considered too holy a name for commoners, the name was changed to good. Friends, I was listening to that great old classic, Those Were the Days. Not the Archie Bunker theme song, but the Mary Hopkin Paul McCartney classic, and I realized these are the days. We have never had such an ability to be free. I hope you all took the chance on Monday evening, or Tuesday for those of you who celebrate two Seders, to tell your stories of freedom, to face your pharaohs of fear, to teach those at your table to be free, to be an example to those you love, to those you care about, to those you influence. It's never too late. Do not live in Mitzrayim, friends. Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty. We are free at last. And please, let us all wish a speedy recovery and healing to Bob, who underwent surgery the other day. Get well, Bob. Friends, next week's a special week for me, and I'll be taking my show on the road. I have the great pleasure of visiting one of the truly magnificent temples in the Western world, where I have the incredible honor of performing a wedding. And I will take you all with me in my heart, and I will speak to you of holiness. Until then, be free. Shabbat Shalom.